Welcome to the Wizard's Crystal Ball. I'm here with a gentleman who is much anticipated by the audience, the Wizard audience, trainer Stephen Schauer. How are you, Steve?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on the show. Um, we have gotten a chance to speak to one another, and I find you a very interesting person. Your journey uh, into the game and where you are now. You've had quite a week this week. It's probably your best week, right? I mean, it's Saratoga.
Yeah, by far, there's no doubt about it. I expected to have a good week. I knew my best chance of the week would be Georgia Magic. The other horses, I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Well, to get to this point, you've had quite a journey, and I want you to talk through, from the beginning. Like how you started in the game. Like, did you go to the track when you were younger?
Yes, my dad reminds me from time to time. I keep thinking I was 10, but he said I was 9 years old when he took me to the track. He introduced me to Woodbine racetrack, and he gave me a racing form to look over, not knowing anything about it. He said the instructions would be right there. They used to have it there. Study it and go learn how to handicap if you want to watch the races and understand it. So that's how that started.
So was it where at 9 years old when your dad put the form in front of you and said handicap Woodbine? Was that when you were at Aqueduct Racetrack or you were home? You were home, you know?
Uh, this was when what happened was he took me to the racetrack at Woodbine. I'm, I, in my younger years or when I was younger, we lived in Toronto. So,
Okay.
and that would explain Woodbine. So, my dad was a player, and I asked him so many questions before we went. He just handed the form to me, and we went to the racetrack, and I fell in love from that day on.
Were you following it when you were so you're 9 years old.
Right.
Were you following it through, high school, junior high, high school?
Um, I followed it through high school, but not as intensely. My parents got divorced, and then my mom remarried a New Yorker, and that's how I ended up at the age of 13 watching races at Aqueduct. We lived about 8-9 miles away from Aqueduct, and I was fascinated with it. And I studied I already had a general understanding of the racing form, and I started just handicapping and watching races. And then I decided, hey, at the age of 16, when I could get my worker's permit, maybe try and get a job at the racetrack. And it started there.
Did you get your first job at the racetrack?
I did. My first job was with a small trainer. I don't know if anybody remembers the person's name, George Pagano. He was the first person
Okay.
that ever hired me. I didn't know anything, but he said, "All right, I'll teach you." And he started having me walk hots, 5 horses a day, and then I started to get a general idea of what's involved in horse racing. Getting up in the morning, how horses train a little, watched how grooms got everything prepared, and that was it. So I worked for a couple of summers on the racetrack, but he was my first job.
And what happened after that? Where'd you go
Um,
from there?
I was still in high school. Went from high school to college. I would still only work summers on the racetrack, but I came to the realization, my personal realization, that if I stayed here long term, I personally didn't think I would ever own a racehorse because the money was not good back then at all. And even if I learned the trade um, as well as I could possibly do it, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it the way I wanted to do it, which was basically trial and error. Get my own horse and learn the aspects of owning and possibly learning how to train. I never really thought about training um, when I first. My main thing was to be an owner and then learn the aspects of the game. Training came later in life, so probably training came into maybe in the mid 2010s. That's when I thought about it. So
What college did you go to?
I went to Queensborough Community College. Um,
Okay.
I didn't finish. I went there for about a year and a half, and I just said to myself, okay, what kind of job am I going to get out of this place? My grades weren't that good. I was good in math, but other aspects of school, I was no good at it. So I went to commercial driver training. I learned how to drive 18 wheelers, and I drove those for 7 years. And
Wow.
yeah, I did
Across the country, or just you had an area that you
two
drove?
years cross country. Um, I didn't have a home during those 2 years. My truck was my home. I didn't care. I was young, so I figured I would just save my money, just working on the road. And then finally, a few of my friends and I, we decided to get a place in New York. We rented out a house, and then I took a job in New Jersey, and I did 5 years of tri-state.
What boy, living on the road for so long and driving an 18 wheeler in traffic on these major highways, that's a bitch of a job, right? I mean,
It is, but it paid. It paid.
right.
Um, but you got to see what the rest of the country was all about. You meet all these different people from around the country and two provinces. I drove in Ontario and in Quebec, and you just see how everything is, and you get a general appreciation of everybody's personality, where they're coming from. You get to see what the country looks like. I enjoyed going to passing through some of the horse farms and watching them. And then after the trucking industry, I got into limousines. A couple of friends of mine told me that you could make more money driving a limousine in New York than you could driving an 18 wheeler, around here. And they said I would starve in my first year, and they were right, but then I would excel. So, and that's,
So
go ahead.
did you buy a limousine, or did you work for a company that supplied it?
I worked for a company for about 6 months that had the vehicles. They had like a rent. You could rent it by the week, or you could drive for them directly. So I decided to try it out to see if I would actually like it before I would invest in it. So eventually, after 6 months, I decided to invest in my own vehicle. And I did that for approximately 22 years. I worked for companies, and then I developed some clientele. And then I branched off on my own for a while.
So you're driving an 18 wheeler, you go into the limousine business,
Right.
then but you had a little knowledge of horse racing as a
Yeah,
handicapper with the thought of being an owner one day.
correct.
How the heck did Stephen Schauer go from limousine driver to horse racing? You gave up limousine driving, right?
Recently, in the last 5 years, I gave it up.
Okay.
Um, so what happened was back then there were all these what do you call it? I'm sorry, I can't even think of it. You could buy shares, just shares of racehorses. So I think Caracorm was out there, and I bought one of
That
their
was
shares.
Jeff
Yeah,
Odens, right?
yeah. Uh,
Okay.
Jeff was there, but they also had Linda Rice. Linda Rice had a couple of horses for them at the time when I joined,
Right.
and I specifically said, if I'm going to join you guys, I want the horse to be with Linda Rice. At that time, Linda Rice was probably, I don't know how many years she was into it, probably within 10 years of her first career. The first part of her career. And so they bought a horse, and they gave the horse to Linda Rice. And after 3 or 4 starts, that horse won. And it was fun. It was a good partnership to do it with. Unfortunately, the horse got hurt. They sent it to the farm to rehab, and unfortunately, the horse never came back. So I gave it a break for a little while. I kind of examined that partnership a little bit and didn't think about it again for a while, and I just continued to work. And then I joined another partnership afterwards. I believe it was in 2003 or something like that. And I joined Kipness Village Farm, and we purchased a horse. We claimed a horse. I believe it was in Saratoga, and the horse's name was Diligent Gambler. I don't know if you know that horse at all.
Was Leah Giamardi the trainer?
She was. She was the trainer.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm not going senile, huh?
Yeah.
69 years old.
Yeah, she was the trainer, and it was a great ride. We won many races with that horse. But I think the thing that got to me most about that horse was, as the horse was making money and going through the conditions, it went through the 1X, the 2X. I think after the 2X condition, there was a lot of conflict, I think, between, I guess, myself mentally with the way we were managing the horse, because now we were managing the horse to protect it, as opposed to, okay, we know this horse can't do this. Why don't we just put the horse in the claimer, a high-end claimer, more than what we paid for it? So eventually the managing partner at the time decided to do that. And so the horse was in for $50,000, which was a lot of money back then. And for whatever reason, they decided to scratch the horse because they didn't want to lose the horse. So I think that was probably the tipping point of me saying, hey, what's wrong with taking a profit? And that probably started me on my journey of owning and starting up my own partnership, which I did for a few horses. But yeah. So anyways, that horse eventually got claimed for $25,000. And then I just moved on from that point on.
So how old are you about this time?
I'm 59 right now. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of months.
So back then.
Oh, sorry. Back then. I'm sorry. Back then I was what, 40?
Okay. So you're 40 years old, you're in a couple partnerships, you get out, you start your own, and now you're an owner, right?
Correct.
And who was your trainer or trainers when you were able to control your own owning destiny?
Believe it or not, it was Leah. I figured she did a great job with Diligent Gambler. Let me claim a horse with her, since I was familiar with her and I didn't have any connections to anybody else. I figured she'd be a good start to learn from. And so we claimed our first horse. It was actually a horse from Scott Lake. And the first start that we had, the horse finished second with her. The horse was okay for a little while. And unfortunately, the horse fizzled out. But it was a learning experience. So,
was the next step? I mean, after Giamardi, do you go to another trainer, how long do you stay with Leah?
I stayed with her for just that horse because to my knowledge, I got as much as I could from her that I could possibly get, and I needed to move on to somebody that was more of a claiming type trainer. So I had to, I guess, raise funds for the next horse, and they wanted to see some sort of improvement over what happened in this particular partnership. Unfortunately, I did not do a good job of that for the first couple of horses. The next horse I claimed only made one start, also finishing second off the claim. And then the horse was no good after that. The horse bowed. So, it was just it was a grind for a while. And then I finally hooked up with a trainer by the name of Julian Canet. I don't know if you know him at all. He, he, he had a very good success rate with claiming horses, low level claiming horses, and he was able to move them up. He had a very very good knowledge of claimers. So I decided to start up with him and have him also have some sort of ownership of the horse. And we were very very successful with the first horse. Um, it was a horse called Hurrah. What we didn't know when we claimed the horse is that the horse was very, very difficult to claim. I mean, to train. Very difficult to train. He refused to go to the track, but he could run. So Julian's job was basically trying to figure out how to train this horse and to get it to run. And he did a very, very good job with it. We had a few seconds. We finally had a win. We put the horse in a 2X over here at Aqueduct, and the horse ran a 101 buyer. And then eventually we lost the horse for 50,000. And it was good. We won quite a few races, Julian and I, at that time. And then he had to go back down to Florida, and I didn't want any more horses down in Florida, so we parted ways at that point.
Is this the only thing you're doing at this time, or do you have another side gig, to bring in money, or you were dedicating your entire, day and week and month being an owner?
Um, the last 5 years, this is pretty much what I've been doing. Um, I do have one client that stood by me for a lot of years and supported me when things were really, really bad. And she refused to let me go. She says, "I don't care what else you do, but when I need you, you need to take care of me." And she doesn't bother me much. It's only like a couple of trips a year. I drive her vehicle and take her wherever she needs to go. But
Oh, so
she,
that was your side job, just to bring in, just taking care
yeah,
of the one client.
yeah, that's it. I mean, to this day, I still do her. So but she understands that this is my full time passion. So the last few years, I've been primarily focused as an owner.
So you're an owner, you're learning the game, you're learning it from the inside.
Hmm.
You go to another trainer. What was his name?
I went to well, it first started with Lakeman. Lakeman needed horses, and he offered his assistance to train a couple of my horses. Um, and then he allowed me to at least be on the premises on a regular basis, so I could watch and observe and learn and see what's involved. And so I did that for a little while, and then unfortunately, Mr. Lakeman didn't have any more horses with anybody else, and I think he had some other health issues, so he couldn't train or do anything for a while. So then I met Mr. Arriaga, and we developed a relationship. So and he was willing to allow me to claim horses, and he would train them, and he would allow me to observe. Trainers don't want owners in to be with them during 5 hours every single day. So that was the condition I did with Antonio, and he allowed me to do that.
Did you
And
actually work with him? I mean, were you actually, or did you just watch?
I if he needed something done and he was shorthanded, I would walk a horse for a couple of rounds until somebody got free to take the horse. That's all I would do. I wouldn't do much. He wouldn't allow me to do anything physically. Otherwise, he would worry that, God forbid anything would happen to me, and he didn't need that liability. So my primary thing was to um, observe, learn, watch the horse train, um, everything that you could possibly do without actually being hands on. He allowed me to do.
So
Uh,
really but that was really your start in really learning the intricacies of training a horse
Correct.
and actually the business of it.
The business of it, yes. Understanding how he hired his employees, talking to people. A lot of people are very forthcoming on the backside. Explaining things. Why they're doing certain things. Antonio was very instrumental as far as what needed to be done with a horse. He was a great rider, still is a great rider. He rode for Pletcher, and my job basically was to pick the horses and to spot them, which is what I mainly focused on. And based on how the horse trained would determine where I would place the horse. So
So how many years did you work for Ariaga?
we were together for approximately 7 years.
That's a
So
long time. I
it
mean,
was
in 7 years, I mean, you're learning how to be a trainer. I
correct.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the backstretch and I hang around some barns and I have an idea of a very cursory idea of what a trainer goes through. But 7 years with the guy, you're going to learn everything. I mean, 5 hours a day. I mean,
Yeah.
did you do it? You did it almost every day?
Almost every day. The great thing about having Antonio, do this is because he's the one that has to be there 7 days a week. I don't have to be there 7 days a week. So yes, I paid the bills. I did everything that I was supposed to do as an owner. But I didn't have to be there if I didn't need to be there. Like I could do my own, if I had to work or if I had to go on vacation with my wife or I had to go do other personal things, I could do it and not worry about the horses. That was his job. Um, so now, now it's a different scenario. Now I have to dedicate all that time as a trainer.
Well, so I got a question for you.
Sure.
You see that Ariaga is working 24/7,
Correct.
7 days a week, caring for X amount of children,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a trainer's life is probably one of the most difficult lives because it's so hard to balance your personal life with your business life. If you, and especially if you have kids, because
Correct.
and you get up early in the morning and you go to bed after like 8, 9 o'clock, you collapse after working. And if you have horses in races, you're working 15 hours a day.
Correct. Yeah.
So why did Stephen Schauer go from a 5 hour day when you wanted to go? You could take vacations. You don't have to show up when you don't want to show up. You're owning horses. I don't know if you're making money or not making money, but you're holding on, you're hanging in there. And then you decide one day, I want to be a trainer. Like, what got into you to decide you wanted this life?
Um, I guess I was getting tired of the limousine business, and because that's also very taxing, not as taxing as training horses. But I figured if I was going to work hard, I think the opportunity in horse racing was a lot better than the limousine business as far as making more money if you knew what you were doing. So I decided to take a shot. Um, it was pretty much that. I mean, if you get lucky with one or two horses, I mean, you can make quite a bit of money compared to what you would do in the limousine business.
So
So,
let's just talk about, because I remember when you started,
right,
because I handicap New York every day.
right.
That's why I know Jeff Odens and I knew Leah Giamardi, right? I mean,
Yep, yep,
I knew you.
yeah,
In 2024, towards the latter part of the year, you started 3 horses and you didn't do any good.
no, I didn't.
They were awful.
They
They
were
didn't,
up bad.
I don't even know if they hit the board. to be honest with you. True or false?
True. True.
Okay.
I went
So
0 for
now
6.
you're baptism to fire, right?
Right.
You're
Yeah.
getting your ass kicked.
Yep.
And you're probably saying to yourself, what the hell did I do?
Yep.
Right?
Um, I I I said that, but being, taking care of, one or two horses is not as difficult as taking care of an entire stable. Yes, there's time involved, but not as much time when you're doing it one or two at a time.
Right,
Um,
right.
I did evaluate that. I said to myself, what did I do? I made a big mistake here with the claim or and the horses that I brought in. I just said I made a bad claim. Okay, it's not going to kill me. Let me try and spot this horse a little bit better, and maybe somebody will drop and take the horse. That was, I believe, the first horse I trained was Mystic Knight, if I'm not mistaken. And he was a nice horse, very nice horse, but I should have known a little bit better taking an older type horse that, maybe he just didn't want to do it anymore. So, but it was a learning experience.
Right.
So,
So you have these three horses, Steve, and
mhm,
it's the dead of winter, and
mhm,
you're not doing any good.
right.
And I'm like, I have like a quarter of my eye on you.
Mhm,
What are you going to do? Like I didn't know about the ownership part and that. I just
right.
knew this new trainer appeared.
Right.
Then you disappear. Then you disappear like for a few months.
Right. I mean, we had some success after that period, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
We did.
you had three horses and then it stopped for about 3 months. You didn't
Right.
have a starter. But
Right.
then you came back
Mhm.
in the spring.
Right.
Now, during the time that the three horses had run and were
Right.
no good, that little break when you came back, because that break, when you started your first horse in the spring, it was the Stephen Schauer resurrection.
Correct.
So, in that space of 2 or 3 months, what were you doing in your head? Or like what was going on?
It was a reevaluation. That's all it was. It was just a reevaluation. I was still working. Um, Part time, I was still working, and then deciding whether or not I wanted to take another crack at it. That's all it was.
Right. Okay. So you learned like I mean that's what people do if they're smart. We're not
Right.
always going to make the right moves.
No.
I have fell on my face plenty of times in my life. And you have to reevaluate and you hope you make some change decisions that you made and you hope they work out for the better.
Right.
For you, when you came back, you started to really, you know, at first slowly really become successful.
Right.
And so, what was it that you started doing differently? Other than you got to make claims, so you got to
Right.
make the right claims.
Right. Um, just the help. I think part of the help, better, not necessarily help, but it was just a different philosophy. I mean, the only thing I can pinpoint is you got to have the right horse. It's always about the right horse, and if you don't have the right horse, you're not going to move anywhere. So I don't know which horse it was that I started off with when I came back. I thought it was. I'm not going to throw names out there. I don't want to be wrong about it, but um, I think it was. I don't know. Do you have a particular horse that I can't remember the first one?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but all I remember is that you started winning
Right,
and and winning really good. I mean, like I'm talking about in the 25 to 30% rate. Like let's go a few months, right? And
right,
I really started to take notice of of your work.
Right.
And then the more I started following you, I said to myself, this guy has a business model that he's employing that makes a lot of sense. And that, you know what that business model is because we talked about it.
Right.
It's basically you just concentrated on dirt horses. You wanted no turf.
Right. No, turf is definitely out. The dirt horses were always essential. They I don't know how to explain it. The horses had to kind of fit my model in order for me to be competitive. And if I'm not mistaken, the first couple of horses that I did claim, they all ran not in really good spots. I think part of the reevaluation was spotting horses better, and I knew how to spot horses. I just somehow forgot it during the first few attempts. But a lot of these horses that I claimed afterwards were, get them ready, give them the proper time off, and then just put them in the right spots and hope for the best. I also believe that having the right riders, which is, top 15 riders to ride your horses, would give you a fair chance of winning, which is always important. Not that the lesser riders are any worse, but you needed to have some sort of uh, competent, not competent, that's a bad word. You needed to have somebody that was very experienced to ride your horses. Um, and I think that's where the turnaround came. I don't think I was using top riders. I was using, riders that weren't getting a lot of mounts. They weren't, um, some of them weren't from here that I used. And it put me at a disadvantage. So I had to try and figure out ways of making better decisions, if if that makes any sense at all. I mean, I did make a lot of poor decisions in the beginning, and then I had to reevaluate them and improve them. That's all. My wife even told me that my biggest weakness was always picking riders. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Well, I did a little deep dive into your career,
Hmm.
and I'm going to throw out some things that you probably don't even know. Okay. And it's
Sure.
so interesting because it's so good. And it's the same thing we're talking about. It's so you've had 72 starts,
Okay.
23 wins, 32%,
Yeah.
69% in the money.
Yep.
The $2 bet on all your horses, the average payout is $7.88 for an ROI of 2.55, which is great, unbelievable, right?
Correct. Yep.
Then off the claim, you're 4 for 19, 21%, 58% in the money. Anything over 20% is solid, right?
Yeah.
But you're 32%, but your claims, they're okay. You
Yeah.
know, you've had one turf starter in your career, and he ran
Correct.
fifth. He
Yep.
ran fifth.
Yep.
In dirt sprints, you have 31 starts with 12 wins, 39%,
Yeah.
77% in the money, which is off the charts. Sprinters, dirt sprinters,
Third sprinters. Yeah.
dirt dirt rooters, 39 starters, 11 wins, 28%, 64% in the money.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, layoff. Okay, 2 to 6 months layoffs, right?
Hmm.
You've done it 4 times. You've won 2 races, 75% in the money. 1 to 2 months. So you're turning over horses quicker now. 8 for 27, 30%, 63% in the money. 8 to 30 days. So 1 month, within 1 month,
Right.
13 for 40, 33%, 73% in the money. Now, this is really where it gets interesting. And it tells something, it tells a tale. When your horses are 2 to 1 or less, right? Which means they're well spotted.
Right.
Like, I never want to be, I own horses. I never want to be 20 to 1 or more because I know I'm probably dead.
Right.
So you're starting horses that are 2 to 1. You're not making the price. It's the
No.
betting public that's making the price.
Correct.
So they obviously see that your horse is in good form. It's found the right spot, whether you dropped it or you boosted in class off a sharp race. But 2 to 1 or less, you're 11 for 17, 65%, and 88% in the money.
Yeah.
Which shows you that you learned to read the condition book correctly.
Yes.
And you're making right decisions and spotting them.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, 9 to 20, 2 to 1 to 5 to 1, that little higher range, still good. 9 for 25, 36%, 72% in the money. Now, here's where it gets that you're not in a good spot, and the public knows it. 5 to 1 to 10 to 1, you're 2 for 15, 13%, 47% in the money. 10 to 1 or higher, you're awful. You're 7%, but
Right.
yet you're 64% in the money, right?
Yeah.
So, all of them dirt. So, look, everybody on social media and all the idiots out there, like the world, we spoke about this. In America, you are innocent until proven guilty. But unfortunately, with social media and a bunch of idiots that are contributing to social media, they're making you guilty. They're saying, he's a juicer. He can't possibly win like this, right? Well, when I look at these stats and I see your business model, Steve, and I also know the person, Island Wind Stable, who you partner with, is a horse player for years.
Correct. Yeah.
He's a handicapper. He's takes trip notes. He knows dead rails and speed favoring tracks. He gives jockeys instructions. All you do is train, right?
Correct.
That he assists you. It's like the wizard trying to assist you in telling you the types of horses to claim, spotting them, instructions to the jockey. So basically, your business model and your partnership with this person is yielding great results. And, if you're the flavor of the week because you won 3 or 4 races, right? And they're pointing fingers at you. Well, why don't you point fingers at Ray Handel, right? He's pointing fingers at you. He's won 4 races this week, right?
Yeah. Okay. He's done very well.
Right. Linda Rice a week ago couldn't lose.
Correct.
And yet I'm in the press box and my phone is blowing up. The feds are raiding Linda Rice's barn.
Right? Ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, I'm with Dave Grenig, the reporter for the Daily Racing Form. I go, Dave, you hear anything about raiding Linda Rice's barn? Because she scratched 3 or 4 horses, but ran a horse against Iron Orchid in the Fleet Indian and ran second. Nobody was raiding their barn. Now, raiding her barn. So you're a trainer and people don't understand what trainers have to go through. Your horses are drug tested, right? I mean,
constantly.
Tell me how that worked. Tell the public, like you're under scrutiny, probably more so now
Yeah,
than
I'm definitely under a lot more scrutiny now than ever before, based probably on your numbers that you just put out there. A lot of my horses have been drug tested before they even go into the paddock, 45 minutes before. I get the email, and I'm in the paddock and I see that they already took blood on my horse. And then no matter sometimes whatever happens after the race, they end up in the spit box anyways for another round of tests. Um, they they take 4 vials of blood, uh, I guess, in the spit box. In the assembly barn, they usually take maybe about 1 or 2. Um, I don't understand why they do it. It's to me, it's they say it doesn't affect the horse when they're on their way into the paddock taking blood, but I think it does. But my horses still perform, and they're I guess they're checking to make sure that I'm not either milkshaking them or they have additional oxygen in their system. I don't know what they're looking for, 45 minutes before a race. I mean, there's cameras in the receiving barns. There's cameras everywhere. So, and the horses are there for a few hours. It's not like I can do anything. So, but that's the way they want to do things, and you have to let them do their jobs. I mean, as a trainer, you sign up for this stuff, knowing that these are the rules and they can do whatever they want, which is to protect the public, I guess. It's in the name of protecting the public. But now they've actually done a little bit more of a deeper dive into me, and they started taking hair samples. So
hair samples.
hair
Okay.
samples, yeah, which is fine. They can do it. I have nothing to hide. It's just that whatever I'm doing now is working. The horses I have in the barn are they're solid to me. I feel very proud of the fact that every morning when I go in the barn, I don't have a bunch of issues to deal with. I don't know how many people can say that, um, but when you surround yourself with competent people all around you all the time, you've got nothing to hide, really. You just do your job and you hope for the best. That's it.
So I'm going to give you a great case of just what I'm talking about, like about your accomplishments and the sharp claims you make and your partnership with Island Wind and the gentleman that helps you through his knowledge of horse racing
Correct.
from the handicapping side, not the
Yeah.
trainer side.
Right.
So Ray Handel has a horse named Georgia Magic who showed some ability, right?
Right.
Now drops the horse down for 50. And the horse seemed pretty sound. It had run quite a bit, right? You
Right.
know, it's a good magic. I like good magics as a
Yep.
sire. They paid 230 grand for the horse. You claim the horse for 55, and then you give the horse a month off. And the horse runs fourth off the claim. And but what's interesting about this horse, he never got the lead that day. He chased.
Correct.
If you look at its prior to that, it had, its maiden win was dueling for the lead right from the start, had his head in front every step, right, and
Mhm.
won. But now, if I'm the owner of this horse and the trainer, I'm going to experiment like you did in his next start and say, get the lead. This is a need the lead horse.
Right.
At all costs, get the lead. You did that second time off the claim, and he ran a career best race. He ran a
Yes.
96 buyer, and he aired.
Yep.
Now you're saying, we found the secret of this horse. Ray Handel never found the secret of this horse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sour grapes on his part, posting his PPs of Georgia Magic on the internet, right?
Yeah. It's
Saying,
I
how the hell did this happen? Well, in the next race, you send the horse to the lead with Jamie Rodriguez both times, and
right.
you wire the field again,
Yeah.
and you run another career best, a 101.
Right.
Now the horse has confidence. You found how this horse needed to be ridden.
Yep.
There's no more Jamie Rodriguez. He's in the mid Atlantic.
Right.
You call on Mr. Franco
Yes.
to be the pilot.
Yep.
And now you're in the paddock. I'm not with you. I don't know. But I know what I'm telling Manny Franco. I'm telling him on August 21st, uh, Thursday or last Wednesday or Thursday, I don't give a shit if you stumble out of the gate. If you stumble out of the gate, I want you at all costs to get the lead. What happens, Steve? Stumbles out of the gate,
Stumbled out of the
right?
gate. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
your instructions were, Mr. Franco, at all costs, there's a horse on the outside that has speed. At
Yep.
all costs, go to the lead, ease him outside, then ease him back in, right?
Yeah.
And get the front.
Absolutely.
Mr. Franco wrote it to instructions, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Boom, 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 a third win, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Mr. Handel, Ray Handel. You want to know why Georgia Magic reeled off 3 wins? I don't think it was Steven Schauer juice. I think it was riding tactics, wheeling back a horse when you knew the horse was right, the condition book set up for you with this horse to
Correct.
do what it did. True or false?
True. Very true. Um, the only other part of that story though is you have to give Evan a little bit of credit there. That was also part of his tactics. He's great with instructions too, but we both
That's
agreed
not,
on it. Yeah.
now that's what I mean. Island
Yeah.
Wind Stable,
Yeah.
Evan,
Yeah.
sharp guy, handicapper. He doesn't know how to train. He wouldn't even know where an oat is. I don't know how to train. I think when you're hammering in a shoe, I imagine nailing a shoe into a human being's foot. Do they feel the pain? Well, a good blacksmith knows how to do it. When I see that, I feel the pain, right?
Yeah.
So I know nothing
Right.
about training. I don't want to know anything about training personally, except
Yep.
I enjoy going to the barn.
Yeah. So do I.
Your man Evan
Mhm.
doesn't want to go. I got allergies. I'm going to pay the price and sneeze. So is
Right.
Evan. We
Yep.
don't want to go to the barn, but
No.
he's a handicapper and he's telling you hard send, hard send, hard send.
Correct. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And that's how Georgia Magic has reeled off 3, in my opinion, 3 very solid efforts. You got to figure out what this horse is about. And your reward was collecting the purse each time.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
bravo to you for that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and he did fit the odds 2-1. Last time 4-5, right? What's that
Yes.
record for odds? 65%. You didn't set the odds. I didn't bet enough money knowing that Georgia Magic is good. The Wizard didn't set the odds at 4-5, right?
No, he didn't.
The computer betters didn't set the odds because they can't play in New York that
No.
way.
Yep.
The public made it that price. Only once was it 5-1, the 2 starts back. And at 5-1, it's the fringe. You're not as good, but they hammered it away the last start, right?
Yeah.
So bravo, well done on Georgia Magic.
Thank you.
Now go to August 19th. August 19th, uh, it was you had a horse in the third race and you had a horse in the first race, first and third.
Correct.
Street View,
Yeah.
you claimed for 40. Again, Stephen Schauer, your friend, Island Wind Racing.
Correct.
So you take the horse off a mile race on July 9th. That was off a layoff. The horse was between horses at the start, got bumped. It was a 4-horse field and basically eased.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring the horse back after 22, 32, 41 days off a 29 buyer. But the horse had back form.
Yes.
You were claiming that horse in its 2025 form, things you saw.
Correct.
So tell me, what was the secret that you found from July 9th when she was eased, and then she comes back and runs probably your career best race, wins by 6 with Manny Franco, blew away the field. Give me the trainers, and handicapper, your guy, how that happened.
Evan and I, we saw her in for the tag, and he said, "Steve, you did great with this filly before." I said, "Do you think you could get her back to form?" And
Oh yes, let's just
yeah,
backtrack.
yeah,
You did claim the horse from last year from Actress
correct,
for 25K. You
yeah,
got a second. It was eased in the mud. You got a win. You got a third.
yeah,
Then it went to Safi Joseph.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you had past experience with this horse
I did. I
and
had
some
past experience.
success.
I had a lot of success with her. I was very proud of her. I was happy. That third place finish that you see there last year in Saratoga, she almost won that race with Santana, and it took 2 Chad Brown horses to beat her that day. Ricardo, when he came off the horse, he said he couldn't hold her much longer because she wanted to go. And yeah, so she finished third. She got beat half a length, and then a couple of days later, I got a call that somebody wanted to buy her. So I sold her privately. I got a good amount of money for her, and I wished them the best. And then I followed her career a little bit afterwards, and I couldn't understand why anything was, why she wasn't performing anymore. I mean, maybe the first race she didn't belong in a grade 2, but you know, that's not my call. But she should have performed after that. Anyways, I guess they became frustrated with the horse, and then that's when we saw her up in Saratoga, and then Evan and I discussed taking her back. And so I got her back, and I was trying to find out if there was anything wrong with her. I mean, they basically gave up on the horse. So after a couple of weeks of training her, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything wrong with her. She was the same horse I sold, and to me that was more frustrating because now she's doing everything right. She does have some quirks to her that I dealt with in the past, and they were addressed. And I told Evan, I said, let's just put her back in the same spot and see what she can do. And she performed the way she did. I mean, I don't have any explanation other than the fact that she just prefers my style over somebody else's style. That's it. There's nothing wrong with her.
When you went into that race, she's almost 5-1 in that
Yeah,
spot because
yeah.
people didn't know what to do with that eased 421 length. Were you uncertain, like kind of like, I hope she gets back to the form, or did you see her turn it around in her training? Like, what was your confidence level?
Are you asking me right after the claim or when I started training? Because after the
No.
claim, honestly,
Eh,
I wasn't happy. So
right.
I was like, what happened? To be honest with you, as a trainer and an owner, I was hoping I wasn't going to get her back after that performance, because now I'm in panic mode. Um, but once she came into the barn, I just said, she looks fine. She looks good. And then after a few days later, I just came to the realization she looks like the same horse that I sold. That's it.
So after that race, you give the horse 4 works,
Yes.
and you each work. Well, you had a nice work on the 31st, 48-4 breezing, but the
Mm-hmm.
work that was really excellent was the August 8th work,
Yeah.
where she went 48 breezing, seventh best of 99. That worked the distance that morning.
Right. Yeah.
That's a solid work.
That's a fantastic work. I told the rider, just give her a maintenance work that day, because we're going to run her soon. And he he basically said to me she did everything on her own. He really didn't push her. He never asked her. And then right then and there, I knew that she was in great form. Um, but I still didn't know what to expect, because I couldn't. During that whole time, you have to realize that when you see that 1 year body of work, um, there are concerns. She didn't bleed. There was just nothing physically wrong with her. So the fact that she put those two good breezes back to back gave me some confidence that we're going to see something. And the rider basically was more confident than I was that she was going to win the race.
You know, as a handicapper, I did pick the horse second.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was willing to dismiss was, first of all, it was off a layoff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it the track was basically the way the pace set up. It was more conducive to horses that got the lead that day. But she
Right.
was also bumped between horses at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something happened. She just, once she was done, Gaffleone just said, "That's it. I'm not going to abuse her."
Right.
And then she's second off a layoff, and you give her, 5 or 6 weeks
Right.
to get her to. So basically, it's not, the Gulfstream races for this guy, for Safi, overmatches in the Gallup Bloom. Maybe he didn't like the heat at Gulfstream. Some horses don't like Gulfstream,
True. It's
right?
possible.
So, I mean, this horse likes Saratoga. The horse ran well a few times at Saratoga. So
She did.
there's logical explanation,
Right.
that this horse was going to win. Not that you juice the horse up. I mean,
No,
I mean,
no, it definitely wasn't any part of that. I mean, if you
right,
know the
right,
horse, yeah,
right.
yeah,
And what I'm saying is, I'm trying to dissect
right,
and talk as a handicapper,
right,
that I found enough in here to pick the horse second, and I almost picked it on top.
right,
So this made sense. You can make sense of this. It just turned around. You had the horse.
right. I
You
had the
know,
horse, I had the rider, and Evan again gave the instructions this time too, and it all panned out. I mean, she went into the race very well. It's just what we just didn't know what to expect. Honestly, had her for
yeah,
41 days. We knew that she was going to run good, but we didn't know how good. Everything was set up for her to be successful. It was all up to her. All I can tell you is when Manny got off the horse after the race, he said, "Steve, this is the same horse that I won with last time, if not better." That's what he said to me.
Now, 2 races later, I did not pick this horse,
Mm-hmm.
because you had several chances. You'd claim the horse Cravings for 25,000, and
Right.
then you were a well beaten third with some Jip Jock, I don't even know what his name is. I mean, I don't even know who he is. Kokakaya or something. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
okay, so he runs third, well beaten, then runs in an optional claimer going a mile with Zayas on, well beaten, bad races, not good races.
No.
Buyers in the 50s. Improves a little bit, going 7/8 with Silvera on, runs a good second. So now the horse is rounding into, you got the horse in better form, right?
Hmm.
So now you freshen the horse up 2 months off that race, right?
Yeah.
And the horse runs by far a career best race at the same level as it was defeated and ran a 56 and 68 buyer. Now it runs a career race, switching to the best pilot of the ones you used prior. You went from Kakakayoyo, whatever his name is, to Zayas to Silvera, and now you get Santana.
Right.
Okay, that's a move up. Did
Yeah.
you see that coming? And what happened in the 2 months that got this horse to run this way because she crushed the field?
She she's when I claimed her, she was a, a very moody, aggravating type horse. She wasn't difficult to train, but she was a very moody horse. And I just figured it would be a phase in her, being that she's a 3-year-old filly, extremely immature. So racing her as frequently as I didn't make any sense for me to keep doing because she was just getting more and more aggravated. So that time off that you saw between let me go back a little bit. She did run good for Silvera, um, which meant I was on the right path as well. Um, I wasn't training her as hard. I was giving her a little bit breaks here and there, letting her round into form, getting a little bit more mature. And then I just said, you know what, maybe she's just better with freshenings and putting her races further apart and just letting her get her head together. And going into this race, I knew she'd run very, very well because she had all that time off in between. And her last couple of breezes were really, really good. The other thing, too, is I trained her a little differently. Um, I can't get into any one specific thing, but it seems like the the one thing that did help is we trained her with blinkers. I never really was a big believer in training horses with blinkers. But for her, it seems like she was more focused when I put blinkers on her in the morning and just did whatever I wanted, jog, gallop, work, whatever. She was always 10 times better with blinkers than without. And so she went into this race with those works and, proper preparation. And she felt really good going into it. She felt confident. And let's not forget, too, when I claimed her, I mean, she always did try, you know. Um, but now I raised her up, and she just got better over time. And she's also a late foal too, so she's 2 months behind the 8 ball. So I think she's fine now. I mean, I think she'll go forward from here.
So, she every race, she's 9 races. Every race she's worn blinkers.
Correct.
And prior to the win and the layoff, she was sent and dueled,
Yeah.
and she enjoyed rating
Yeah.
on this day.
Yeah.
And she got a good setup. The track was honest. You could
It
close
was.
that day. So
Yep.
a lot of days this meet, it's been speed favoring. So she got an honest, fair track. So the this picture of her running this big race. I didn't pick her. I was wrong, but I can see it. Like
Yeah.
I could see it. And that's why I'm going through these horses, going through the records, because
Yeah.
I'm and going through your business model, talking about your partner, telling your history, because you know my money is all in on you that you're doing this at the best of your ability, that you're not a cheater. You're not what all these morons and idiots spew on, look, if I may, who knows what the future holds for Stephen Schauer, right?
Right.
But I'm saying just by everything that I'm illustrating and your conversation, I think you've done a tremendous job. You've had your knocks, you've made mistakes, you've learned, you have your business model, you're sticking with it. Look, my son is a Division I basketball coach. And he said to me last night when I was saying I was having you on the show, tell Stephen, tell the people on the show, he's a great recruiter. He's a Division I coach, right? He
Right.
gets $500,000 of NIL money to work with against other teams that have 10 million, 20 million, 30, right? So for them to he has a very limited purse string to get players, right?
Right.
So he said to me, I ain't going to deal with the freshmen, the high school players or freshmen. I want grizzly veterans, guys that don't give a fuck, like going to go out there and, they're grizzly veterans. You
Right.
don't want 2-year-olds. You don't want yearlings. You don't want
Yeah.
turf horses. You stay within what you have a manageable stable. You're not a Fortune 500 guy like Chad Brown or Todd Pletcher or all these guys that got 200 horses. You're 10 to 12 horses. Add one, give up one, claim whatever. But you've
Right.
stayed within your comfort zone and at the same time learning how to make money in a very, very tough game where 95% of people either get waxed or lose money, right? Like,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
anyone that buys yearlings, anybody that buys unraced 2-year-olds, you probably are not going to make money.
No. Mm-mm.
And you
Right.
figured out your way.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to present to the public. What Stephen Schauer is about today, the trajectory, the ups and downs. That's what I tried to do.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much it. No, there's no secret juice or anything like that around there. It's just making smart claims and doing the best you can with those claims. That's it. That's as simple as you can possibly make it. You have
Right.
to put the
And
work and effort.
right. And you're saying you want to test my horses, you want to do your job, you want to take hair follicles, you want to take blood 20 minutes, 40 minutes before the race. Go ahead.
Right.
Right. I mean, you got to be extra careful in the barn. A groom has lanacane on his hand
Right.
because of a sore. You don't want him, giving oats to a horse and having the
Right.
horse lick the lanacane. But
Right.
so it's a really hard game from keeping everything as safe as possible in your environment.
It is. I mean, you can only control so much. I mean, I have no problem with the blood testing. I do have a problem with the fact that they like to take a lot of blood testing. I don't know if I've been singled out or not, but I have a problem with them doing it like half an hour to 45 minutes before a race. I think it does take something out of the horse when they do that before the competition. Even though my horses have won or placed, I do have a problem with it. I mean, I have no problem with it doing it. If they would take it in the morning, I'd be a lot happier than, within the hour of a race. I just think it does something to them mentally. But anytime they want to take any samples, any other time, I'm fine with it. I have no problem with it. So,
Well,
but it's their game. You deal with it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I wish you continued success. I
Thank you.
have tremendous respect for what you've accomplished. And it's not over the last year. We're talking about a career of everything. You didn't just start a year ago. You
No.
started as a kid. You started as a kid at 9 years old at Woodbine, handicapping races.
Correct.
You probably had a form next to you in the limousine. I mean,
Definitely.
I mean, look, you're riding an 18-wheeler for 35 hours straight from one end of the country to the other. You're thinking of
Yeah.
a plan, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this just didn't hatch 1 year ago, Steve. I
No,
mean, this is,
it didn't happen.
this is a lifelong build up to this. And, you know, the business model is right there in the stats. One turf horse, no 2-year-olds, no yearlings. That's it.
Right. That's it.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you.
That's it.
I appreciate, I root you on. I hope you continue to make, good claims and spot your horses. You're doing an outstanding job.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you. All right. Thanks. Bye bye.